Hello, welcome into a Friday edition of the Computer America Show. That's right, it's Friday, and it is time for Ralph Bond is going to be joining us here for both hours. He was not delayed, but rescheduled. Normally he's on with the second Friday of the month, but he's now on just this one, and then he'll be back to the second Friday of next month in April. But he's here with us tonight. Has some great stories, a lot of things on 3D printing. So it's going to be a fun show. We have our show reminder winner of the week also. That's all coming up here on the Computer America Show. So sit back, relax, enjoy the show. It will be starting momentarily.
Mm. 1 minute until showtime.
Oh my gosh. Mm, 15 seconds.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello, and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And it's Friday! Yep, it is Friday. We made it, and another week of broadcasting excellence in the can, as they say. And we've got a great show planned for you. Of course, it being Friday, that means we're going to have our show reminder winner of the week. Somebody is going to be very, very happy. Going to be walking away with a Logitech T650 glass wireless touchpad valued at $80. Ooh, yes, I know. So,
by the way, what? I feel like as a co-host, I should know what this does already. But what does the touchpad do? Like, is it for controlling your computer? Is it for drawing? What is the glass touchpad for?
Yes, it's for everything you said. However, its primary function is for to use it like your mouse. Except it has enhanced features, things that would be much more difficult to do with a mouse. Basically, it is for cursor control, but there are additional things you can do with editing. Different applications, you can have specialized gestures with the touchpad, specifically for the application. So yeah, basically it's for computer control and data input, and that's what the trackpad does. You can pinch to zoom, all the gestures that you're familiar with on your iPhone screen, for example. You can do all those, but you have 2-finger swipe, 3-finger swipes, it taps, all these different gestures. It allows you to do a lot of interesting things that would be extremely difficult, or you would have to.
Sounds like just what you need if you want to be a power user with some extra functionality.
Exactly, power user. Keyboard commands, but you can all do it with the trackpad. One of the things that I liked about the trackpad is that one of the games that I play, yes, I do play some games, Mahjong.
I was about to say, you could say it. It's Mahjong, that old person game.
But what I like about it is that after you select the two pieces, when they match, all you have to do is lift your finger up off the touchpad, and it dismisses those two pieces. In other words, it's a very natural gesture. And it just makes you play the the game more efficiently. So that's one of the reasons I like it. But anyway, we're giving away this glass trackpad from Logitech. It's wireless. It's valued at $80, and we do that every Friday. So some lucky person is going to be winning that. Now, I guess what we should do is just introduce our guest, and then we'll get the road on the show. Okay, if you're okay with that.
I'm okay with that.
Right. All right. Yes, he's back. Bond is back, and we've got him. It's all Bond on tonight's show. He's Bond. Ralph Bond. Yes, Ralph Bond is the correspondent for the Computer America show, and he's also the author of Family Computer Fun, Digital Ideas Using Your Photos, Movies and Music, and that's by Q Publishing. He's also the co-author of The PC Dad's Guide to Becoming a Computer Smart Parent by Dell Publishing. Ralph was Intel's Consumer Education Manager for more than 10 years, and for nearly the past 7 years, he's been part of Autodesk's communications team. Ralph, welcome into Computer America. How are you?
I'm great. It's always wonderful and so happy to be here. And we've got a bunch of great stories, and as you mentioned, some really fun news and stories about 3D printing at the front end of tonight's show, if you like. It's great stuff.
Yes, and
and by the way, I just want to say up front, thank you for giving up your spot for just the 1 month to accommodate another guest who couldn't make it otherwise. But of course, everyone looks forward to you moving back to your original second Friday of the month.
Just like my younger, arguably better-looking brother James Bond, as an agent, you have to be flexible. You have to be on call, ready to go at any time.
This is very, very true. It's interesting, by the way, in the chat room, evidently the new Daniel Craig teaser for the upcoming the new Bond. I think is it
Spectre.
Thunder? Spectre is going to be. I think it's Thunder.
Cool.
Is the title of it. But because, as you know, Daniel Craig, when he started doing it, was a reboot of the Bond character. It started all over again. Actually, it's the first one that Daniel Craig did. Bond really wasn't in the double O's. He was he did some things that got him indoctrinated into it. So you get to see a little bit pre 007.
Cool. Prequel.
A prequel, a little bit, yeah. And then the movies are really well done, and I think Daniel Craig is more of a throwback to the original Sean Connery character, whereas with Pierce Brosnan and some of the other ones, they were good and they were fun to watch. They were for me, they were a little too elegant, too
you got into the two romantic Bond characters and not the action-packed Bond.
Right, and Daniel Craig is the action-packed Bond, as Sean Connery was. So I really do enjoy it. Anyway, the teaser's up, and we can thank I Know What I Know, who's in the chat room. Let us know about that. It's one of our users. By the way, let me give out some information now. We're going to be talking about these stories, but if you have a question or if you are a comment or suggestion, we certainly would love to hear from you. You can give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. We'll get you on and get you through. Email live, L-I-V-E, at computeramerica.com. If you're radio shy, that's a great way for you to communicate with us. You can also go to our live interactive chat room. Now, the way that works, when you go to our homepage at Computer America, to the right-hand side, there are a number of buttons there under Interact with the Show. The first one is Chat and Live Video. Click that, and you'll get a split screen. On the left-hand side will be the entry form to get you into our chat room. Just pick a username. That's the name you'll be known by when you go in there. Click the Connect button, and your browser will move you into the Computer America chat room. Sharing that same page is our live Computer America video stream. Now, that starts up automatically when you do that, when you go there. That's right. Not only can you listen to the Computer America show, you can also watch the Computer America show. We have live video streaming. And also our audio and the live video stream is archived, so you can access that at any time, whenever, if you missed the live show. But we certainly like to see you here with us live at 10 p.m. to midnight Eastern Time, right here at on the air. So we enjoy that. Now, Ralph is here. If you want to see what we're talking about, you can also go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com. Just click the show notes button, and you'll see today's show, which is the 27th of March. And you'll see Ralph Bond is there, and you just can click on his name. You can go to his website, but and it also talks about some of the things we're going to be talking about tonight. But if you go down a little further, it says cheat notes. It's a link. That will open up a Google Docs document, and you can actually see what we're going to be talking about tonight. Now, not only can you read the text and see the pictures of everything that Ralph's going to be talking about, but there are most importantly, there are links to most of the stories too. So if you want to follow up and do more after the show, we actually post the links there as well. So all that is there at our show notes page at computeramerica.com, and we try to make it as easy as possible to access everything that we're seeing, so you can not only hear it, see it, watch it, and link to it here. Now, one last thing. Ben, of course, is no video again for Ben tonight. Evidently, he's quoting a poor lighting source as the reason. So
You know, I'm only so brilliant, but the room unfortunately is not. So
we
no
won't
video.
we won't be seeing his face tonight, but he'll be hearing him because he has that wonderful blue microphone that he uses now.
You actually like this one better than the now normally I use Logitech. We recommend that most of our guests that come on use a Logitech, but I'm using the blue microphone just because I'm traveling, and why not? If you can't see my pretty face, you can at least hear my pretty voice.
Yeah, you do sound better.
It seems to be working.
Yeah, and it is because it's a broadcast quality mic. I mean, Logitech makes great headset microphones, no question about it, noise canceling, and they are great. But because we can't tell most of our guests to go out and buy a blue microphone because they're expensive. So it would not be. But for my co-host, for you, Ben, the blue microphone really does a terrific job. So you really should be using that mic from now on. All right. So anyway, that's my 2 cents on that. So again, you can see everything, you can read everything, you can link to everything that we're going to be talking about, and one of the things we're going to be focusing tonight, at least at the top of at the beginning here, is 3D printing. And Ralph, as I mentioned, he works with Autodesk, and but what he does is he goes out on the internet and finds really interesting stories or gadgets and compiles them for us. So when he appears here on a monthly basis, we kind of discuss what he's found, and it looks like a lot of them have to do with 3D printing. Was that just coincidence, or how did that happen?
It's a combination of personal interest, genuine, in 3D printing. Number two, a shameless plug in some cases for my company Autodesk, because Autodesk is so involved with the 3D printing community and the maker community, both in terms of our software, which is used to drive these 3D printers in so many cases, and we also have created a formula for a 3D printer which we have released to the world to have at it, something like when IBM published the specs and the recipe, so to speak, for the IBM PC back in 1981 August. So it's a really, so I'm going to, truth in lending here, there's a little bit of shameless Autodesk plugs here and there, but it's genuinely linked to news stories.
Speaking of shameless plugs, I mean, we did a news story. I'm pretty sure you don't have it up tonight. Probably going to be covering it in more depth next month, but you have one, or we did a story about RenderMan, which is Pixar's 3D modeling software, just became free for everyone.
Wow.
And I think Autodesk has something, some big things to do with that, right?
Well, we have a lot of free software that you can go out and look for, and we'll be mentioning some, I think, a little bit later, and possibly, 123 Catch. 123D, pardon me, Catch is an example. So just come out to Autodesk and start poking around, and you can find out all the software we have, and we do have a lot of great stuff that's free. So check it out.
All right. So let's start off with some of these. This is almost like a 3D printing news roundup. And we start off with this first story with 3D printing with custom molecules. Will create creates a low-cost mechanical sensor. So are we printing with it to the molecular level? Is that what we're getting?
It's just, the title was so intriguing to me. I had to grab it. It's from the source is R&D website. The story is written by Hannah Hickey, University of Washington. This is really a story from the University of Washington. That's another reason why I thought it was kind of fun. And those are our neighbors to the north here because I'm in Portland, Oregon. And fascinating story. So check this out. Now, I don't pretend to understand every element of this because I'm certainly not smart enough. But here's the story. Imagine printing out molecules that can respond to their surroundings. What? Print out molecules, to your point, Craig, molecular level? What? And they in turn can respond to their surroundings. A research project at the University of Washington merges custom chemistry and 3D printing. Scientists created a bone-shaped plastic tab. Now, once again, friends, if you have the show notes, you're able to see what we're talking about. If you do not have the show notes, you're going to have to close your eyes and just pretend. That's all I can say. Get the show notes. Okay, so scientists created a bone-shaped plastic tab that turns purple under stretching, offering an easy way to record the force of an object. Gregory Peterson and Michael Larson, University of Washington doctoral students in chemistry, created a polymer or plastic made up of many repeated units strung together and fed the soft plastic into the University of Washington's chemistry lab's commercial 3D printer. Now, the printed tab is a piece of white plastic with barely visible stripes that turn purple under force. Now, the nut of this is it acts as an inexpensive mechanical sensor with, here it comes, no electronic parts. An inexpensive mechanical sensor, no electronic parts. Now, if your mind isn't just whirling with the possibilities, it should be. The whole device took about 15 minutes to print from materials that cost less than $1. Ding, ding, ding. Inexpensive sensor, no electronic parts, super low cost. There you go. So this could be transformative stuff. The sensor might be used to record force or strain on a building or other structure. Boydston, one of the researchers, would like to develop a sensor that also records the speed of the force or impact, which could, now get ready for this, guys, which could allow for a football helmet, for example, to change color when hit with sufficient force. Now, I can see it now. The next thing that's going to happen is, in professional football, college football, if you have a helmet-to-helmet strike, right, and if it turns a certain color, then it's a penalty. Can't you see? I mean, it's coming. It's absolutely coming. Or, in a kind of sadistic, gladiatorial kind of point of view, the audience might just love it. Look, his helmet just turned purple. That dude just took, right? So, fascinating story. I loved it. And again, if you have the show notes, we have the link in there for you to learn more.
Now, here's something that Ben and I have been talking about for some time. Because
it took some arm twisting to get Craig to agree that if it tastes like a steak, looks like a steak, cuts like a steak, why wouldn't you eat something that was 3D printed?
3D printed meat and the future of food of this, and I'm not saying that I won't, but the jury is out until I taste it myself. Now I know Charles Tindall went to the last year's CES. He went and he actually ate little pieces of candy that were 3D printed. They were little sculptures, and it was made out of some sort of a sugar product. He said those were very good, but not beef. Anyway, what's the story with this?
Well, of course, the title of this story and the image immediately caught my attention. This is from 3D Printing Online. It's an online outlet. It's a really good source. And the story by Deborah Timesh, I think is how you pronounce the last name. And she says, and it's kind of tongue-in-cheek a little bit here, it says, imagine yourself sitting down to dinner in a restaurant of the future, maybe 10 or 15 years from now. And in the mood to splurge, you order the most expensive cut of beef on the menu. Your waiter asks your preference with regard to temperature and then submits your order in his discreet mini tablet, and you wait eagerly while your mouth waters. Back in the kitchen, a cook confirms the receipt of your order and then programs it into a 3D culinary printer, and minutes later out comes your freshly 3D printed, is it pronounced tornado? I see, I don't eat prime cuts of beef, guys. You can tell where I'm coming from. And off to the grill it goes to be cooked to a luxurious medium rare. And then it goes on to say, sounds impossible? Inedible? It's definitely possible, according to Professor Keith Belk at Colorado State University Center for Meat Safety and Quality. The technology isn't what's problematic. Scientists have successfully, get this, scientists have successfully 3D printed human muscle tissue. So the likelihood of printing animal tissue is almost assured. What makes the endeavor less compelling for researchers as well as food producers is the issue of consumers' potential aversion to a food that is unarguably processed at the time when more and more people are interested in organic products. Now, I got two things for you guys and the audience. Help me out here. Number one, how do you even print human tissue, human muscle tissue? What's the source coming in? Look, if you take the plastic material and stuff, and you or all kinds of other materials in 3D printers, and you extrude them to make the layers and all. What the heck do you start off with to make human muscle tissue or a beef steak? What is
for human organs? I believe they use for 3D printing some kind of basis for cells, and then they culture them in a petri dish, and then they mix that with something else to make the actual ink, quote unquote ink, for 3D organ printing. So it's actually the person's own cells.
Okay, well that's interesting because, and the second thing I want to ask you guys and the audience to think about and see what you think is, for example, my wife is almost a vegan, almost. She's getting pretty close. But if you could print beef, print a steak, and if by a result an animal isn't butchered or killed to create the steak. Doesn't this open up a whole new possibility where the objection my wife has, it's not that she doesn't enjoy the flavor or whatever. Well, she's not a beef person, but I do. The objection is just the thought about, animals and all this sort of stuff. But gosh, if you could print chicken or print fish or print beef, and animals, it's like the old thing in the movies, no animal was harmed in the process of making your meal, then wow, this could be a really big deal, right?
I think that's the majority of people out there. They don't want to butcher a cow, but we've grown so used to having a steak with a side of pork and then a topping of fish. It's no one wants to do it, but I mean, where we're kind of if there was any other option, I'm sure they would jump at the chance if it was the exact same. Except one was, hey, we did kill an animal, and the other is, hey, we did not kill an animal. They would flock to the no-kill. Like, people don't want to kill just for the sake of killing, but they love meat.
Yeah.
And if you ever sunk your teeth into a prime rib, you'd understand that. But the point is, if you can get it, where you'll go to a restaurant and it says no animals were harmed in the preparation of your meal, it
might be a little bit less sweet, but I think you'll get over it.
It's and another thing, not to labor this too much, but we all know the research and studies, the vegan community, the vegetarian community use all the statistics about how terribly wasteful beef raising and production is in terms of the use of raw resources and all that stuff, right, guys? You've heard this. So again, if you could print animal tissue food that didn't in turn require huge herds of animals and transportation and slaughter and feed and all of that stuff, it's another argument for it as well. So I don't know where the technology is, how really real this is, but it's certainly a fascinating thing to think about on multiple levels.
Well, I read this an article. I actually watched a couple of things on it as well. That none of when they slaughter a cow, none of it is wasted.
Yeah.
Every speck of what they do, from the bone to the marrow, it all gets used. Not only in edible portions, I mean, on things and products that we use, like plastics. I mean,
that used to be a very Native American thing, but now it turns out that's just a very capitalist thing to do. Why have a waste product when you can have a product?
They use every bit of that cow gets used for some product, and there is no waste. So there is that. But then again, as you say, I mean, these animals are raised from the beginning, to be slaughtered, and that's it. Now some of them live, really nice lives. If you compare for Kobe beef, I mean, you get daily massage.
Did you just say if you're being made for Kobe beef as opposed to a McDonald's burger?
Yeah, exactly. But still, It's
I don't care if you're getting massaged 3 times a day for your entire 15-year life. In the end, it's not like it works out well for you.
I have to. I mean, I love animals. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I have to. We have dogs. I mean, I love animals, all kinds of animals. I think and animal cruelty. I think it just sends me up a wall. But so we have to eat, and I don't know. I'm going to be hard pressed to give up that steak or prime rib. In the name and spirit of that. So we got to do something, and certainly this is something that I don't know the quality of the beef. I mean, they do this, and the quality of the beef is.
Well, let's look at it this way. If they could get every 3D printed steak to taste like filet mignon, like they're not going to print out, rump roast. Like you can make it taste like anything you want if they get this technology down pat.
Yeah. Well, I'm all for it. If they can actually do it, I would. But then, what would happen to the cattle industry? And I mean, things would have to change.
Technology disrupting an established market? What?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. It might be like the oil industry getting rid of all the trains in the late 1940s and certainly into the 1950s, as they did in California. They got rid of the electric red car trains in LA because they were able to exert influence and get legislation to just, build highways and get rid of all the trains. So it's kind of akin to that. So there might be a terrible lobby pushback against this, and there could be scare campaigns about printed food is dangerous for you. I mean, it actually could be the premise for a great, maybe sort of kind of like sci-fi theme or something.
Genetic alterations of foods and vegetables is certainly there are always going to be red flags, and people are going to to say, or if it's not organically grown, and even then, some people say, what is organically grown? Yeah.
And then you find out that they actually take all of our old, all of our sick, all of our disabled, and take them back and soil and green them into the raw material you need to.
But wait. Yeah, no, Ben, it's so uncanny because I was thinking of exactly that. Not exactly that, but soil and green. Well, what if you could print human tissue for consumption where no human is really harmed? You could have a line of soil and green products, and people might try it because I wonder what I taste like.
You're right. You totally could, because like you're 3D printing human livers, and let me tell you, it was hard to get one of those to eat like nowadays. But if you're just printing them out, it's possible.
Now, Jack in the chat room says that he loves animals, especially if they're cooked properly. Jack, please. No, I mean, then we'd all turn into what, Hannibal Lecters? I mean, come on, are we saying cannibalism is okay if you print the meat rather than?
If no humans were harmed in the making of this Darrow burger, then yes.
Darrow.
I don't think so. However, beef. I don't know if it's all going to be from the same protein or how they're going to do it, exactly. But I assume that they're waiting.
This is actually like one of my favorite cross sections, because we talk about the cross section between technology and medicine all the time. Technology and art, technology and math, and that kind of thing. But technology and food is going to be an awesome thing to witness in the coming years.
Yeah.
It's going to make the whole GMO thing look like nothing.
Well, it could change. It could change the face of the beef industry and our poultry and all that. Now, I don't know. We don't have to 3D cook print vegetables, though. I think the farming industry is okay with that. I don't think. I think that's fine. I don't think we have to do that. You may want to supplement with some of these things, but I would think that if you're going to have a natural ear of corn as opposed to.
Well, I mean, if you can make a vegetable that's genetically modified and 3D printed, and some sort of easier way to cook it, let's say something that's packed full of vitamins and nutrients and an all-around superfood that you couldn't create otherwise. I mean, that's something that you could do.
Maybe. Yeah. And don't forget, there's a probably 0.0000, keep going with zeros, some kind of number of the population who are fruitarians, who will only eat, they will not even kill plants. They will only eat seeds and byproducts from a plant without killing the plant.
Isn't that a vegan? That's a vegan.
No, that's not
vegan. Vegans will eat a plant.
Yeah, no. Now, only if it falls off the tree. If you pick it from the tree.
No, that's a fruitarian.
You're thinking of Hasidic vegans.
No, all right. So the fruitarian is
That was a joke, people.
yeah. The fruitarians are right. I first learned about that. I was watching a Hugh Grant movie, and and they were making fun. It was they were making of this girl that he was dating, and she was a fruitarian. And she says, if you pick it up, it has to fall natural on the ground. If you pick it, you've murdered the plant. And he says, oh, you.
Most of your best facts, Craig, come from movies. I love it.
But yeah, but that's why I first heard of a fruitarian. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think that it'll solve a lot of problems. It may create some, but I think the problems that get created are going to be easily overpowered by the positive aspects of this. If there are food shortages around the world, I mean, all these things, if you can have some sort of central...
Technically, yeah, I've heard it put this way today, we technically don't have a shortage of food. We have a logistical problem with food, where we don't have enough food in the right places, because we have lots of food. I mean, we waste a lot of food, but it's just not in the right places, and it's hard for it to get there. I mean, if you could somehow make it so that the material that you use to print 3D food is easier to store, package, ship, and then, reconfigure, that would be a good thing.
Yeah.
Some sort of generic, basic material that would be in, let's say, in plastic, sealed in plastic bags that was really not subject to.
We're just gonna ignore the fact that rice exists for this argument, but go ahead.
Yeah. And then make steak out of it, or whatever. That would be kind of interesting, and I think obviously useful. We're at the bottom of the hour already. All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show on the Blog Talk Radio Network, on the Boost Radio Network, the IRN Radio Network. It's Friday. Ralph Bond is here with us. We're talking about 3D printing, and we'll get back with those. A final News Tips Bulletin review from Marty Winston is coming up, too. Stay with us.
Hey everyone, have you heard about the No hair removal device that's sweeping the globe? If you want to go weeks without shaving and get smooth, professional quality results, here's our favorite host, Cheryl, for No hair removal.
Thanks. Hey gals, I love talking about my No. It's this cute little hair removal system that you can take with you and use almost anywhere at home or on the road. No more expensive in-office treatments, painful waxing, and no more wasting your valuable time. Got unwanted facial hair? No has patented thermocon technology that works on all hair and skin colors, so it's perfect for using on all body parts. And now you can take advantage of this incredible risk-free trial. Get the No, the facial kit, a travel case, and a $100 discount shopping card, and you don't risk a penny to try it. Try the incredible No hair completely risk-free. Call 1-800-953-5415. That's 800-953-5415. 800-953-5415.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
You know what you're in for, right? This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America. This time, Epson LabelWorks LW600P. When we saw the new Epson LabelWorks LW600P at CES and learned that one of the zillion label cartridges they offer has cable wrap labels, we kept nagging them until they put one in our hands. The printer itself is smaller than a rice box. Runs on either an AC adapter or 6 AA cells, connects over USB or Bluetooth, and there's a list of apps and utilities for most popular platforms. It's a thermal printer with a built-in cutter that the software can automatically trigger as each label emerges. We don't want to dismiss the impressive collection of labels they offer for it on foils and fabrics and white, clear, metallic, fabric, fluorescent, or glow-in-the-dark backings. But for us, it's all about name tags for individuals within clutters of cables. The cable wrap label is sweet. The printing is done on a white backing on one half. You pull the backing off that half first and stick that part of the label on the cable, then remove the backing from the transparent half and keep wrapping. The transparent part covers and protects the printed part. Bottom line, even if you never use any of the other cool cartridges made for the Epson LabelWorks LW600P label printer, its cable decoding capabilities will thrill you. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 33 minutes past the hour, and Craig, you mentioned that was the last we'll be hearing of that News Tip Bulletin Review. I assume you meant of that particular one this week.
That's right.
And we'll have brand new ones available
next
Monday.
week.
Yeah. All right, so that's good. No, just making sure it wasn't the last one ever.
Yeah, and you know what else I noticed? When you would come back with the headset, I would hear the little like that. Welcome back. With the blue mic, there's nothing. It's smooth. You just come right back into it.
Huh, weird. Well, that's good to know. Glad you can point out. I'm very self-conscious. Yeah, so welcome back to the show. Ralph Bond is doing the whole show with us. We missed him, and he is here. And luckily, with a 2-hour show, and he only having, let's see, usually, Ralph, you get about 25 stories, 23, 24 stories. And we are, stories 17, 18. There are 18 great stories.
18 this month, yeah.
Luckily, we just finished up story number 2, so
we're not quite
on track.
Yeah, but we're still not quite finished with it because, as I said, I wanted to kind of finish with. I mean, as compelling as this sounds, there's nothing to me better than going into a restaurant and ordering a thick, juicy prime rib, medium rare, and a baked potato. So they're going to have their work cut out for them to do that because not only is the taste, it's got the texture of the food. Even beef itself. Obviously, there's so many different cuts with different textures to them.
All right, Craig. Yeah. What if they got it close enough to prime rib, but it costs $3 a pound instead of $12.99 a pound?
I'd buy the $3 a pound. No question about it.
Because the stuff is probably going to be cheaper. I mean, you don't have to grow the cow, store the cow, feed the cow, pay for the carbon offsets of the cow. You just have to get the material.
I think what will happen is when it first comes out, it'll be more expensive, but the cost of it will come down as they perfect the technology. No question about it. But we have a ways to go. This is not happening in the in the next week.
As with some of the best technology, everything's a ways off.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Ralph, again, and again, we have the links to the story if you want to on our show notes, on our cheat notes, which you can find on our show notes page at computeramerica.com.
But this next one, I have been wearing glasses since I was like 6 years old, and something like 40% of people in the U.S. actually have some sort of issue with their eyesight that they need glasses for. This next one is sounding pretty awesome for a lot of people.
Oh gosh, yeah, guys. I another 3D story, 3D printing story, from Mackenzie.com, story by Aaron Porterfield, and the title is New Project. It's actually kind of one of these maker sort of community sites. 3D printed eyeglasses, and you stop and you think, oh my gosh, yes, why not? Suddenly you have flexibility, you can have personality and style and so forth that, talk about eyeglasses, the frames are ridiculously expensive for what they are, friends. Come on. So here's the story. It says, here's how again it's Aaron Porterfield, here's how I designed 3D printed eyeglass frames around lenses that can be made by any optometrist. Printing them on a MakerBot, one of the 3D printer products that's out there, you guys know, printing it on a MakerBot costs nothing compared to buying new frames. I mean, there's a little bit of material cost, but hundreds of dollars for frames versus doing your own. First, I 3D scanned my lenses using my phone's camera and drum roll please, Autodesk's 123D Catch software. And he gives a link in the story here where you can go and get that. You can order new prescription lenses or replacement sunglass lenses and design around those, or even easier, download ready-made 3D lens models from an outfit called eyewearkit.com. And then he shows an image here of a pair of frames that he made for himself. And wow, the big light bulb went off in my mind. I thought, well, you could have a lot of fun. You could have a variety of things. You just use 3D digital photogrammetry to create a very accurate model of your particular lenses, and then start modeling your own frames. You could have a lot of fun. I mean, it could be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's and I just went to the Eyewear Kit website here. And you have lens options. You have lenses by frame.
Yeah.
Different gradients in the lenses, and they have different lenses.
There was that one story a little while ago about an artist who actually used 3D printing to design different and new kinds of prosthetic arms and legs, because traditionally those things have been very, very expensive, and I mean, you get the proper measurements and you can 3D print it, you do it for a fraction of the cost. So really, this is kind of an extension of that. This is a medical device. Glasses are medical devices, and instead of paying, I'm sure some of them are worth it, but myself, $100, $200, $300 sometimes for just frames. That's not even the lenses, the frames. This is awesome.
I agree. Yeah, and that eyewearkit.com site is fun. I mean, look at all the colors and the styles. And they're even reviving the old style from 100 some odd years ago. That's just, there's no frame on the side here that goes around your ears. It just clips over your nose, the bridge of your nose. You can really have some fun.
Yeah, it is. Now you still, again, it prints the frames. You still have to have the lenses made.
Of course, right.
But those are again available. You can go to the optometrist, or as he suggests, you can get them done. This is just very, very cool. It really is. And if you break them or something, just print out another pair.
There you go. And you know what would be really cool? What if you could have a design for your frames that allows you to easily remove the lenses, so you could have 30, 40 different frames to suit your mood, and then just pop your lenses in. If that could be done practically, that would be kind of cool.
All right, well, this next story, again, in the spirit of 3D printing, a 3D reprinter recycles plastic bottles and converts them into raw material for 3D printing. That's interesting.
I love it. And these guys are not the only game in town, as the story will explain in a moment here. This comes from a website called Inside 3D. The letter P is in Paul for printing, of course. So Inside 3DP, story by Shani Phillips, and the link is in the show notes, so go check that out. And then the way we'll describe this is there's an image. If you have the show notes up on your screen, you can see the image that shows the idea of how you take one of those clear plastic water bottles, for example, pop it at the top of the machine, and then it's turned into a powder, which is then used in the 3D printing process. I went, oh yeah. I mean, what a great way to reuse material that, yes, gets recycled. I grant you that, but what a fun thing if you drink a lot of bottled water or so forth around the office or whatever, you can use it for 3D printing. Hey, that's kind of cool. It says here, designers Yangzi Quinn, Yingting Wang, and Lucas Fisher, and wait a minute, Han Ying Zi, I guess. So 3 Chinese gentlemen and Lucas have created what they call the 3D Re-printer. The machine works by recycling plastic bottles and converting them into a raw material for 3D printing. The 3D Re-printer isn't publicly released yet, and there isn't much information available online, but the designers revealed details of its basic functions. From the little available information on the 3D Re-printer, it seems almost identical in functionality to 3D Systems, so that's the name of the company, a product called EcoCycle, that's EKO Cycle, about a $1,200 product, and we have that mentioned in the article too. You can go check that out. And then it says here, 3D Reprinter doesn't have a listed price tag yet, but if its designers choose to sell it for a relatively reasonable cost, then it may be worth looking into. And again, I stress, imagine a high school. My wife, is the tech support person for a high school of, gosh, I don't know, 1,500, 1,600 kids. And that place gathers up those plastic bottles all day, every day. Well, what if you had printers like this in the school where you gather up the bottles and you use them as raw material for printing and for schoolwork and for projects and stuff? How cool is that? Really, this one really caught my imagination.
Yeah, it is because I'm looking at the EcoCycle Cube
Uh-huh.
on the website, and 3D printing, recycle, remake, that's the type of thing. They haven't they have
Does,
even Miami promoting this, So
does does anyone have any information on how it actually works? Because it can't just be as simple as heating up the plastic to the point where it can be melted and extruded. I mean, there's contaminants. There's saliva. There's old soda. There's
That's a
that
good
kind of thing.
Yeah,
Like,
that's a good question. It says it processes the bottles into a powder. So how do you grind it or get it down to a powder? I don't really understand. I don't know, but gosh, if this could work, if this
Yeah.
does work, it could be very, very cool.
Nice idea, but I just don't see how it works. So hesitant but hopeful.
if you go to the EcoCycle website, that we have the link there, you can actually watch a video of showing how it's actually taking the processed bottles and melding them down into the material that that the printer uses to print. So you might get a further explanation there. But yeah, it certainly. Look, I'm all for conservation, and certainly this is something that. And besides the cost of the material, I mean that would come way down. Just have a ready supply of water bottles.
There you go.
In
I
your-
mean, that's why I brought up the high school example,
Yeah.
example.
Yeah.
What a great way for the kids it would further amplify the idea of recycle, reuse, and create or provide raw material, and the kids could make things that they could sell for school fundraising. I mean, the whole thing has great possibilities, I think.
Okay. Well, this next story 5, it sounds like the top 10 for David Letterman, but it's not. It's actually 12 things we can 3D print in medicine now.
Right. And some of these stories, fellas, and folks in the audience, that will not be surprises. 3D printing for medical purposes, as Ben said a few moments ago, is for prosthetics and so forth, has become so now pretty common knowledge that maybe this won't surprise you. But it comes from a website called Science Roll, story by Bertolin Mesco, and again, 12 things that that you can 3D print for medicine now. And then the first one here is tissues with blood vessels? Wait a minute. We just got finished talking about printing steaks. And yes, Craig, I know you like steak and prime rib. That was well established in the last story. Now we're talking about tissues with blood vessels?
Yeah.
What?
Well, that's what they're talking about, because the big thing is having to print organs is one thing, but they have to find a way of printing the capillary.
Well, good point, of course.
Bring blood to the organ and everything, and evidently that's the next step, and evidently they're working on this.
Yeah, so the story, I love this article because it says here, researchers at Harvard University were the first to use a custom-built 3D printer and a dissolving ink to create a swatch of tissue that contains skin cells interwoven with structural material that can potentially function as blood vessels. Wow. Okay, so there's something to think about. Now, Ben mentioned this, low-cost prosthetic parts. Creating traditional prosthetics is very time-consuming and destructive, which means that any modifications would destroy the original mold. So it was a one-off, very labor-intensive. In fact, there was a whole world of highly skilled, highly trained men and women to do this kind of work. And you talk about a disruption in their world.
Sure.
All of a sudden now people can use photogrammetry or laser scanning or whatever to get the stub of a severed arm or a leg or whatever and create a prosthetic. It basically eliminates the need for any of those people, which is kind of sad. But on the other hand, it's going to democratize an otherwise highly costly thing and help the rest of the world. So it says here, researchers at the University of Toronto, in collaboration with Autodesk Research, sorry, shameless plug, and CBM Canada, use 3D printing to quickly produce cheap and easily customizable prosthetic sockets for patients in the developing world. And there's if you have the show notes, there's a heartwarming picture of a little boy who was born with missing fingers, or very, truncated little nubs of fingers on one of his hands, and he's through inexpensive 3D printing. You can see in the picture here he's able to hold a ball, and the look on that little boy's face is, oh wow, that's just worth
I
a
would
billion.
say, I wouldn't even say, oh yeah, heartwarming. I'd say the look on his face is, oh yeah, check that out. Look what I can do.
I'm a cool guy, and he's got a cool do going on too. He's got kind of a cool hairdo happening there. Now the next one I thought was great. Tumor models. Tumor models. Researchers in China and the United States have both printed models of cancerous tumors to aid discovery of new anti-cancer drugs and to better understand how tumors develop, grow, and spread. Ew, that tumor's a gnarly looking thing. Eek. But there are many other things in the article. Use the link in the show notes. Go check it out. I just grabbed a few of them off the top here that I thought were particularly interesting, especially that tumor thing. Yikes.
Yeah, I never thought about using 3D printers to make organs and then check to see, the spread of tumors, the spread of cancer cells, that kind of thing, using the 3D printed things, because I know they were working on software that would model like every single cell, every single reaction in the organ. They were working on software that could do that, but I guess until they get super computers to the point where they can actually handle those kind of computations, 3D printing it and testing it much faster and probably much more effective right now.
Yeah. It just blows my mind. From printing a steak for Craig to printing a tumor to help research. You gotta love this stuff. That's why I've become kind of obsessed with 3D printing, and why the front end of tonight's show is so 3D printing centric.
So, and again, you can read the rest of the top 12 in the article there where we have the link to for this story. So let's move on to the next story, story 6, which is 10 surreal attractions at Real 2015.
Yeah. And here's a truth in lending upfront statement. This does have heavy Autodesk fingerprints on it, but it truly was genuinely a very, very interesting event, and I think worthy regardless of whether Autodesk is involved or not. So Real 2015, guys, was held in late February in San Francisco, and what this is all about, and if you haven't heard these terms before, I want you to remember them, because it's really another thing like 3D printing in terms of profound strategic inflection point kind of thing, as Andy Grove would say. It's all about reality capture, and then subsequently doing something now being called reality computing. So let me set the stage here a little bit, then we'll talk about what went on at this show. So reality capture, guys, that's probably the easiest part of the equation to get your arms around. It's using digital photographs or laser scanning a landscape or an existing building, or taking photographs and combining those things to create 3D models, right? And it's the creation of the 3D models based on the input, whether it's photographs, laser scans, whatever you're using to get your capture of reality, so to speak. It's what you do processing that to create something, either print something in 3D or create a model for design purposes. That's the reality computing part of it. So two things, reality capture, and then that feeds into reality computing. That's what this show, Real 2015 in San Francisco, was all about. This story came from a fellow who went to the event, like I did too, called 3D Print is the source for the story. The story is by Andrew Wheeler, and I've put into the show notes a link for the general Real 2015 show so you can see what went on. And then you can use, also by the way guys, I went there and I did 17 little video interviews, a bunch of really fun things that I put together talking to different people. If you want to see that, the link to see my video interviews is in the story too. And then, Ben, you mentioned prosthetics. We mentioned it before in the previous story, and one of the outfits that was displaying at this event is called Unique. It's kind of a funny spelling here. It's UNYQ, pronounced Unique, 3D printed prosthetic covers. Now, a lot of amputees today, you see our poor Afghanistan or war veterans sometimes with these prosthetic legs, and they're very high-tech steel kinds of things, and they're kind of cool looking if you're a mechanical engineer, but a lot of people are self-conscious about them, or young people who have the misfortune of needing these kinds of prosthetics may be self-conscious and so forth. Well, what if you could give them an opportunity to design their own expressive covering for their prosthetic limb? That's what this company's all about. Ethor Bender, the CEO of Unique, the story says, is into robotics, bionics, and prosthetics, to say the least. And the reporter of this story says, we've reported on Unique in the past as they have used 3D printing to bring fashionable and highly stylized custom prosthetics to amputees. So a great story. Check out the link. I'm just going to do some highlights from this show. We'll move on to the next one. This, you have, if you don't have the show notes, I'm sorry, you're missing out, because look at this picture. Makerware and inflatable robots by a fellow named Saul Griffith. Look at that picture. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
There's an outfit called Other Lab. Is a very imaginative workshop and startup space founded by inventor and MacArthur Genius Grant recipient Saul Griffith. Other Lab's workspace brings together engineers, designers, and makers to create and pursue such fantastic ideas as inflatable robots. And Other Mill, the kick-started home CNC milling machine. So great kinds of folks all came together at this Real 2015 show. Go back to the show notes, get the links, learn more about this, and watch for this show in the future, because I found it to be one of the most compelling things. And it was a small show, guys. It was basically think of like one really large high school gymnasium hall. It was at Fort Mason in San Francisco, which is an old military facility, and big theater. They had a theater activity. Boy, it was a nice, small, intimate thing with all these fantastically wonderful people coming together.
Wow. Those robots look kind of interesting, don't they?
Yeah. Isn't that a hoot?
All right. Again, you're listening to the Computer America Show. Ralph Bond is here with us, talking about all these different stories, and we have more of them. Again, you can see them and follow them along in our show notes page at computeramerica.com. You can click on the cheat notes and see the Google Docs document, which displays everything that we're talking about on tonight's program. Just real quick, I want a quick plug here for our Computer America contests. They're in full swing. Go to computeramerica.com. Under the first Interact pull-down menu, you'll see it says Enter Contests. The show reminder is our newsletter, and we've actually turned it into a contest because when you subscribe to our show reminder, we have the subscribe button right there. You just put your name, your email address, hit the subscribe button. It'll send you a confirmation button email back to which you must reply to make sure that it's in fact you who wants to be on the list. And then every Monday at 9 a.m. Eastern Time, you'll get the show reminder newsletter delivered into your email inbox. And it is the only publication out there where you can see who's going to be on the Computer America Show for the entire week. And you, as a subscriber, from that from the list of subscriber names, every Friday we draw a winning name to win a really nice prize from Logitech, the T650 rechargeable glass touchpad valued at $80. We're going to call out somebody's name in the second hour of the show, another winner. But so you might have missed it this time, but get the newsletter. It's free. It's informative. And we might be calling your name out next Friday as the winner of the Logitech T650 rechargeable glass touchpad. Check out all of our contests at computeramerica.com. Enter in all of them.
What we're saying is, please enter. We need to make Craig's job more difficult. More names, more choices. We need that to happen.
That's right, and that's one of the things that I love about this job. I don't think of it as a job. And while you're there, register for the Logitech contest. We're giving away those 3 great prizes from Logitech. Enter in all of our contests. They're easy. They're private. We give your contact information out to no one. Really, we don't. At the end of the contest, we just toss everything and start all over again. Unless you're a winner, and then we'll give your contact info to Logitech so they can mail you your prize, but that's pretty much it. So enter in all of our contests. You'll have a lot of fun doing so, and you might win something really, really nice. All right, we're going to continue on. Oh, while I'm here, let me just mention a couple of other things there. You can go to our archives page at computeramerica.com. You can see how to download copies of the show that you may have missed. We have video archives. We have our own YouTube video channel so you can watch the show. We have our photo archives. We have the Blog Talk Radio archives of the audio portion. Even Apple, we have a link to Apple's iTunes where you can also listen to and download all of our shows, any particular one that you want on Apple's iTunes. We have all the links there at computeramerica.com. The other thing is that we also have our Top Tech Awards. You can go there. We identify some of the products that Marty Winston talks about. The Top Tech Awards, we award them from time to time, and you can see all the recipients there. That's another fun thing you can do. And also we have our tech support page. We have our free software page. All of it, everything is at computeramerica.com. I encourage you to go and check it out. The free software page is a lot of fun. It's got some very, very useful products. We've got Skype there, AdBlock Plus, GIMP, LibreOffice, of course Slimware Utilities, because all of their products are free, so we put them on the free software page. And also there you'll find the chat room IRC client plugins at the bottom of the page, like Chatzilla and HexChat or MIRC. These are plugins for your browser depending upon the platform you're using and the particular browser you're using. You can actually format the Computer America chat room to be more visually pleasing and easy to use. They're totally optional, but if you find yourself using the chat room more frequently, we encourage you to use the IRC client plugins that we provide. It just makes things a lot easier to do. All right. As I said, when we come back, we're going to be talking about some stories like the world's most admired companies for 2015. We'll also talk some of the cool tech trends that are hot globally. Some of the things we're going to be talking about, some of the stories, including this a round smartphone. Can you imagine a smartphone that's round, like a circle, rather than rectangular in shape? And
if that doesn't fall under the category of something that you didn't need, you knew, or you didn't know that you needed, that would be it.
Including something called the Jiver Bike. You got to see this thing. It's amazing. Also, we're going to meet Canary, an all-in-one home security system. These stories and more are coming up in Hour 2 with Ralph Bond. You're listening to the Computer America Show. We'll be right back in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere.
Broadcasting live. It's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America. Hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Hello and welcome into Hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And we continue on with Hour 2. Ralph Bond is here with us for the hour, and we're going over some of the stories that he finds for us. It takes about a month to do them, and we put them together for us. And again, you can see all these. You can follow along with it. Just go to our show notes page at computeramerica.com and click on the cheat notes link for today's show, March 27th, and you can follow along with us and see all the different things, products and services that we're talking about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to skip down here. And go to story 8.
Whoa, why are we skipping over the really short, most admired companies?
I'm going to get back to them, but I want to go to story 8.
Called. I thought it was because it was another, I think, my last shameless plug.
Oh, no, not at all.
That's okay. We can come back.
Yes. Some cool tech trends that are hot globally.
Yeah.
So tell us about it.
Yeah, fun story, guys. And this one comes from the Economic Times in India. Oh, yeah. And I happen to, because of the nature of my job, I track a lot of activity and coverage that for our company in India, and I know this publication very well. And they have some great articles. Anyway, cool tech trends that are hot globally. So it wasn't just for India, it was trying to look at the entire world. And this author, it was a staff-written piece, so multiple authors, picked a variety of things. And this is interesting. The Google Chrome Pixel for 2015. Now, the Pixel is a Chromebook. Now, were you guys familiar with this product? Because I wasn't, and I was pretty impressed.
It's very expensive. It's one of the top of the line.
It's like the Chromebook trying to show that Chromebooks don't all have to be low budget.
Yeah, and I wasn't aware of this product, so this I thought was really cool. It says the laptop is a 12.85-inch touchscreen with a resolution of 2,560 by 1,700 pixels in an aluminum chassis that weighs only 1.5 kilograms or about 3.3 pounds. In terms of hardware, you have a choice between an Intel i5 or i7 processor, 8 or 16 gigs of RAM, as well as 32 or 64 gigs of flash storage. And after the latest Apple MacBook, this is only the second laptop to use USB-C ports. That's kind of interesting too. On each side of the laptop is a USB-C port that can be used for charging or for connecting additional storage and peripherals. In addition, you get 2 USB 3 ports, an SD card reader, and an audio microphone jack. Other features include a backlit keyboard. I always like that. Etched glass trackpad, a 720p HD webcam, Wi-Fi, which is 802.11a and c, Bluetooth 4.0, and a battery life of up to, and you always take this with a grain of salt, but battery life of up to 12 hours. To your point about pricing, it's priced at US dollars $999, basically $1,000 and up, and is currently available only in the United States.
Yeah, I mean, you have to be really in love with a Chromebook to spend this kind of money on it.
You were about to say crazy. I know it. I know the C. But it's nice to see the first of all Wi-Fi 802.11ac. Always good to see that standard getting more proliferant out there.
Yes.
The second thing is the USB-C. I love that port. Thank you for that they made not just one but 2 USB-C ports.
Yeah, in other words, because USB-C ports, basically with one port you can get power. You get video, audio. You get every like HDMI. You get all that in the one port.
Yeah, that's genius.
Which is amazing. And Apple is actually using the USB-C port as the only connector on their newest MacBook portable systems. So.
Well, you know what, guys? Way back when USB got off the ground, gosh, it was a long time ago. That was the dream. The dream was to get rid of all the crazy connections we used to have on the back of PCs and get it to one universal connection.
And that's what the USB-C is trying to do. So
it's not quite there yet. I've heard telltale of a USB-C 3.1 standard, not 3.0 standard, 3.1 standard. That's going to bring it a little bit closer. But USB-C is getting there.
Yes, it is. So anyway, that was one of the cool trends. This Chromebook, Chrome Pixel from Google. Now, continue on here. You have the Vio phone is listed here.
Yeah, and I did not realize this because the story right off the top says after the split with Sony, Vio has now chosen to set its sights on the smartphone market. Now, time out for a second. I always associate the Vio brand, if you want to call it that, with Sony. So when did they part ways?
Yeah, so did I. I thought the Vio was just a model from Sony.
Well, me too. It sounds like Sony shed the brand or sold it off, sort of like IBM selling ThinkPad to Lenovo, which is ironic because Lenovo was building them anyway. But you get the picture. It's that kind of. I just found that interesting. I thought maybe you guys might know something about that. But anyway, it goes on to say Vio, now not part of Sony, Vio, their first smartphone, simply called the Vio phone, runs Android 5.0 out of the box and is priced at about $420 US. It features a 5-inch in-plane switching display with a resolution of 1280 by 720 pixels and weighs 130 grams. Inside the 7.9 millimeter slim body is a 1.2 gigahertz quad-core Snapdragon 410 processor, 2 gigs of RAM, and 16 gigs of storage, expandable via micro cards. Other specifications, if I can say it, blah, blah, blah. Other specifications include a 2,500 milliamp battery, 13 megapixel rear camera. Wow. Nokia, don't they have a 16 megapixel camera on their phone?
It's not all
anyway.
It's not all about the megapixels, though, for the quality of the camera.
That's right. It's the lenses, guys. You know that. So 13 megapixel rear camera, 5 megapixel front camera, and 4G support. To start with, the VAIO phone will be available exclusively in Japan from the 20th of March 2015 onward. So it initially only in Japan. But I thought that the main thing that caught my eye on that was I didn't know VAIO was now a separate thing from Sony.
Yep, exactly. I did not know that either. But evidently, it is.
There you go.
Now, okay, this next one is what I think is really called. It's called the Runcible, and I had no words for this. I mean, this is very cool looking. Tell us what this is.
Well, yeah, and at first, okay, well, as Craig pointed out, I think just before the break, it's a circular disc form smartphone. And at first, when I first looked at it, I thought, I'll pick it because it's just goofy, right? But then I started to think, you think about the human hand, what shape am I making there?
The circle.
Folks who are watching the video here can see our hands and fingers, when grasping in this way, form a circle, not a rectangle. I mean, yes, I can do it, but it's kind of an intriguing notion in a way. Anyway, so the product is Runcible, R-U-N-C-I-B-L-E, and the story says here, remember the pocket watch? That's where the makers of this unique smartphone-like device have taken inspiration from. They call it a new category of digital device for the post-smartphone era.
Now, I just want to let you know that Ben carries a pocket watch.
I did for many, many years, especially when I was a hippie.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So,
yes, I went through the same phase.
Yeah, but I was a real hippie at the real time, buddy. Not your generation pretending.
Oh yeah, no, I was a poser for sure.
Poser. Anywho, according to the company, it sits somewhere between a smartphone and a wearable, like a smart watch. You'll notice that it has a circular display and a rounded organic shape that fits neatly in the palm of the hand. That's my point, too. Yeah. All the typical connectivity options you get in a smartphone, LTE, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, are present, but it will never take over your life. Well, that's a little bit of, spin. In fact, it distills your digital life and alerts you in subtle ways. For instance, you can select 12 contacts you wish to speak to. Others will go to voicemail. I don't think any of these things are that necessarily unique, I wouldn't think. Activity around your social networks is represented by bubbles, larger bubbles, more activity. Further details are not available, but it should be available sometime this year at a price of $600 US on up. So it's a curiosity piece, to say nothing. Say if nothing else, it's certainly an interesting idea. Pardon me, and I do think there's something to be said about a round form factor. Could be maybe more comfortable for a lot of people. I don't know. You could say it's more secure too, because when you're holding a rectangle, it's only your opposing thumb here that's, right. And you could maybe cradle something. Certainly would make showing people things maybe a little easier. I don't know. It would be fun to hold one, see what it really feels like, see how large it is, and so on. That could be kind of fun.
Yeah, and
I wonder if it orientates itself depending on which way you hold it. Like if there's a definite up or down.
Oh, that's a good point.
Probably not. I would think that the circular display would probably display it.
Yeah.
It probably has a not necessarily an accelerometer, but it has something so it knows where the top. It has a gyroscope, so it knows where the top and bottom is. So
interesting.
And the display will.
And by the way, just to piggyback on the previous little story that we did, where VAIO apparently they were sold off from Sony back in 2014 in an effort to restructure, and now Sony still owns 5%. VAIO is its own company, and they've traditionally been selling only PCs to the Japanese market. So this is really like the first time that Vio is going to be jumping into the smartphone market.
Interesting. Yeah.
All right. So let's continue on with this next thing, the JIVR bike. This is
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. And again, this is another one of the products that the staff at the Economic Times in India thought was indicative of cool global technology trends. So this is the, I suppose if you're trying to pronounce it, JIVR, G-I-V-R bike. Now, friends, get the show notes. You've got to see the picture of this thing. It's kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
2 wheels, kind of an extended sort of kind of handlebar, and a seat area. It's just impossible to describe.
Well,
You need to see the image.
it looks like a unicycle, really.
Yeah.
It has 2 tires, but they're concentric. I mean they're side by side. They're not one in front of the other.
Right. Exactly right. Right.
It's one tire device that you ride, but it's powered. Obviously, it's gasoline powered, and I don't know if it's using a gyroscope or the rider has to sort of like what you get with the Segway,
Yeah.
or and it sort of kind of keeps itself stable, but it looks really slick.
Well, it's certainly unusual looking.
Oh,
If nothing else, it's a story just because it's so freaky deaky looking. So the story says, tackling urban mobility is no easy task. Currently in the funding stage, if you have the show notes, there was a typo there. It should say currently in the funding stage on Kickstarter. The JIVR bike is a foldable, go anywhere, chainless, app enabled, electric assisted bicycle. Pretty cool. With batteries and everything included, it weighs just 15 kilograms and folds 15. Wait a minute, kg 15. That's not kilograms, right?
Yep.
What would that?
Yeah.
15 kg is kilograms.
Yes, 50. Got it. Never mind. I'm so North American, I just can't get my head around metrics. Well, USA, and folds up into a few simple action, or with a few simple actions it folds up. It can still be pedaled like a bicycle. Good idea. The mechanical driven train is hidden inside the frame. Without any human power, the bike can reach a speed of 32 miles or kilometers per hour and travel about 30 kilometers on a single charge, extendable by pedaling. So it does have the best of both worlds, right? You can toggle between human-driven and power-driven. The electric motor is a small unit that fits to the front wheel hub. The batteries are integrated into the frame, and there are dual disc brakes to haul it down from speed. It charges using any 110 or 220 volt outlet in about 90 minutes. Hey, pretty cool. It still hasn't answered the question to your point, Craig, about balance. But anyway, it says as a bonus, it also has a smartphone mount on the handlebar. And you can fire up the JIVR app to view distance traveled, calories burned, and for navigation. And there's a link in here for you to learn more about this, I think, really fascinating product.
Yeah, it looks very cool. It looks very futuristic.
Come on. Really? Can you not see this on the roads of Seattle?
Yes, Seattle, yes.
Seriously. Like, this is hipster meets hippie meets new form factor all the way. This is awesome.
Yeah.
What I want to know, Ben, is if you look at the picture, you see the black kind of wing-like things?
What are those? Are those
gluteus maximus stimulators?
I don't know. Sit on.
I would guess. Like I'm trying to look at it and trying to think how you would hold the handlebars and
pedal. Wait a minute. Or which way do you face? They need to show a person on this thing.
Yeah.
Which way are you oriented? Is your butt? Your legs and butt going which direction?
Maybe it's for your kind of torso, and then you kind of like lean over and forward. I don't know. You're right. I have no idea.
We've got to look up. Maybe somebody could look up
I'm
and
already
see if there's other pictures.
Yeah,
with a human being on it. I should have done that for the show notes because I didn't think about it until just now. Wait a minute.
Oh, I see. Wait. Okay, you don't ride it as a monocycle. It acts that you're looking at it in the fold.
So it unfolds out into a bike.
Into a bike.
Traditional more. Oh well, now I'm less impressed, but it's still
silly?
cool.
Yeah, but still, it folds up, and then when it unfolds, then you have, and then the seat extends, and you have it. Still, it's a very cool looking bike. But yeah,
Well, it's still weird.
yeah, it's very weird. Uh, there you go. The
All right.
All right. So we continue on. I want to move into story 9. We're talking about the Internet of Things and how
Yeah.
talking with the internet. And we were talking with Sandy Berger. She had this a new device from Amazon where it acts like Siri. You can speak to it, but you don't need a smart, because see, with Siri or with Cortana, you need to have a smartphone. I mean, it's in your smartphone. This
Right.
is in a little box where you can talk to it, and it will perform all kinds of functions and turn things on and off around your house. And it's like a Bluetooth speaker, but it has Siri, but it's not really Siri, but a Siri-like functionality.
Oh, that's cool.
It is very cool, but and it had some home security. But here's another one here called the Canary,
Yeah.
which is an all-in-one security system. And this looks neat. Tell us about
Yeah.
that.
So because I'm a customer of Best Buy, I'll get emails from promo things and so forth. And I got this email, and I looked at this, and I just thought, well, it's not exactly a new concept. There have been a number of products that were purported to be either sound-based or other things of this nature that you would put in your apartment or your home, and it would help detect motion or other things like this. So there's a long history of this kind of technology, but this one just looked kind of interesting. And what I really did, guys, I didn't type up show notes. I basically just did copy-paste of some of the imagery from the promo page for this, and the link is there for you at Best Buy. Again, the product is called Canary. And the opening line is about Meet Canary, all-in-one home security, easy to use, built to learn, and beautifully designed. It is kind of an interesting kind of cylindrical product. Canary helps you make smart decisions that protect the people and places you care most about. With simple setup, no additional sensors or brackets to install, and no contracts or required monthly fees. Gotta like that. Canary is great for any house or apartment. My guess is more like line of sight apartment kind of situations. But anyway, there's a video you can watch, which I did. There's another section of the web page talks about the home security features. So very simple setup, auto alarm and disarm. Canary senses when you come and go and automatically arms or disarms itself. That's kind of nice.
Yeah, it is.
Video, yeah, that is really a good feature, because how many times have you forgotten perhaps to set up your alarm? Video notifications. When Canary senses anything out of the ordinary, it sends an alert to your smartphone with HD video and audio of what happened. Or you can watch live. You can watch 1080p HD video stream with high quality audio via the free Canary app on your smartphone. And again, no contract, no monthly fees. That's cool. Additional features: motion detection and night vision. Control the response, respond to incidents before they turn into emergencies, sound the siren. There's a built-in siren into the cylindrical product. Call local authorities or ignore the event. It's your call. Data privacy. Securing your data is our top priority. All parts of our system employ extensive security measures, including AES, 256-bit symmetric key encryption, and on and so forth. And then down to the last little image I grabbed from the website, it says it's more than a camera. Reduce false alarms. Canary uses sensor data and intelligent motion detection to learn about your home over time. That way, which I presume it means like pet animal movements, that kind of stuff. That way, I would assume that's what they're referring to in part. And that way, Canary can identify which events really need your attention and which events are part of your normal routine. As Canary gets smarter, it sends you increasingly relevant notifications with fewer false alarms. Pretty cool. Price. Now, you know, I don't think $249.99 is. It's certainly in the realm of reasonable, right?
Yes, considering what it is,
Yeah. Now, what I don't know is, because so much of it's video-based in terms of the sensors and that sort of thing. My downstairs is a fragmented thing of a family room and a kitchen and a dining area and the formal living room and an entryway and so forth. I would have to pick a zone with, I presume, a kind of line of sight for it to really do its thing. Otherwise, it's not going to see things it can't see, right? But um, maybe you have a small apartment or something like that, or you want to just put security. My biggest security concern would be the sliding glass door out to the backyard and in our family room / kitchen area, so maybe I position it there. But I was impressed that the price range here, I think, is reasonable.
Yeah, it sounds that way. $250. I like it. You don't go through the cost of having a home alarm system put into your home
Right.
because that can get prohibitively expensive. Now
It certainly can.
they try to flicker in. Oh, you can get a free home alarm system, or for $99, and then of course the monitoring is like a fortune. So.
Right.
And you want extra sensors? Oh well, okay. So.
And of course, I would presume, Craig and Ben, that you could deploy multiples of these devices in your home too. To my point earlier about, gee, you can't see everything. Well, Ralph, get 2 or 3 of them.
That's it.
It could be.
It could be. All right. Now this next story I found to be extremely interesting. I've sort of gone on record saying that the light of the future is going to be LED. It's just win-win situation. There's no downside.
Personally, I think the light of the future is going to be UV because the sun will be here forever. But that's just me.
All right, but that aside,
except at night.
True.
That's moonlight.
LEDs are going to be the light of the future because they are extremely efficient. They give off virtually no heat. Got incredibly bright light. And they use a fraction of the electricity that incandescent lamps use. They just do pennies, for months of time. They're very inexpensive, and they last. For all intent and purposes, can last forever. They last 20, 30 years, or even longer. Some go up to 100 years. And the only prohibitive thing right now is cost. LED lamps are still very expensive. Not very, they're because the price is coming down. But if you spend $20 on a bulb with an LED, you're never going to have to buy a bulb again from wherever you're to put a bulb in wherever you're lights in again. So eventually, in the long run, they do pan out. But they are, and also they have different colors and what have you. Well, anyway, Philips. Because when you have a white light, there are different shades of white. There are it's what's called Kelvin. I think 5,000 Kelvin is like a really bright, pure white light, and then a typical incandescent light is like around 2,600 Kelvin. So it has a yellowish tinge to it. But anyway, Philips is coming out with a new range of these because they're becoming. They're also becoming dimmable. They're adding all these features, which But now they're adding a new feature, which allows, they're coming in a range that glow with every shade of white light, which I think is really interesting, is the essence of this story.
Yeah, absolutely. This comes from one of my favorite sites, pocket-lint.com, out of the UK. Fun website. Again, as Craig was saying, it's Philips. We're talking about the Hue Phoenix is the product line, a new range of smart lamps that glow every shade of white light. Wow. The link is in here, story by Elise Betters. There's a picture here of one of the lamps they're showing, and it says Phoenix, which is a new range of white ambience connected lamps. Looks like it couldn't have been featured, or could have been featured on the television show The Jetsons. Ben, you're too young to know what we're talking about. Due to its space-age-like design and ability to deliver every shade of white light. That was to your point, Craig, about the range. The new range basically allows you to create the right light for different moments at home, according to Philips. So, I go to Home Depot or Lowe's or what have you, and they have the displays of the LED lights, Craig, to your point. And you choose a warm one or a cool one or whatever that.
Right.
But this is talking, if I'm getting this right, they're saying, well, hey, dude, you can throttle this thing to all these different shades of white in one product, which I think is a really cool idea. And then the Phoenix, and now we're going to have to get out our calculators and change UK pounds to dollars here, but the Phoenix now has the following 5 lamps. They have a down lamp for £39.99, a wall light for £199, basically, a table light for $149, ceiling light for $299, and a pendant light for $299. So if anyone's been fast with their calculations, can tell us roughly speaking what we're talking about in pound. What is the pound today? Is it like $1 something, $1.50.
Yeah. Mhm.
The pound, like I know the euro was pretty much a 1-to-1.
The euro, that's what I was thinking about, right? But the pound, I've lost track of what it is lately with the U.S. dollar. But give you some idea of the cost of what these are like. If you want to get out your calculator, listening audience, you can do that. It goes on to say you can place any of these lamps in hallways, above dining tables, on a coffee table, hanging from the ceiling, etc. The new range is intended to suit a variety of spaces. And then there's a quote from the press release. It says, the small hexagonal cells that make up the outer shell sparkle and reflect light, effortlessly diffusing it across a room. They also change appearance each time they're seen from a different angle, turning Philips Hue Phoenix into a live object that delivers an explosion of white light, explained the press release. So, yeah, it's just kind of fun to see this technology. A little dorky story for me about LED lights, guys. The first LED light bulbs I just purchased, gosh, maybe a month ago.
Yeah.
I had a fixture in what had been our children's bathroom. They've all grown up and moved out, but it's one of these fixtures that has 3 hanging down lights. And I had a kind of a goofy array of different burned out incandescent or the pigtail CFCs and so on. And they weren't. One was warm and the other one was a different. And I said, ugh, that looks terrible. And so I went to the store and I started looking at the LED bulbs that look just like a traditional white shaped bulb. And I thought, okay, $8 each, that's a little spendy, but what the heck? I am thrilled with them. Wonderful light, to your point, Craig, that you made earlier. And you can have them running for an hour and put your hand right on them. No heat issues.
Yeah.
Just fantastic.
But and also these lights obviously they're dimmable, so they work with the dimming.
Right.
Now the lamps are obviously self-contained, so you can use them, let's say, with your smartphone. You can actually set up schedules, so they come on automatically.
Pretty cool.
And also the light switches are cordless, so you can actually stick them to the wall, but no wiring is needed. So they really are. It's really an interesting kind of a smart lighting solution.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not just the bulb. Philips has made a system, a lighting system for a home that you could do. So.
I was just thinking that we really do live in like one of the few times, probably in history, where you're going to have 3 to 4 different types of light bulbs all throughout your house. Because eventually one of them is going to win, be it LED, be it CFL. One of those, like in 20 years, it won't even be a competition.
I think it's LED.
We've got another News Tispel to review from Marty Winston. We'll also have our show reminder winner of the week. It's all coming up here on Computer America. We'll be right back. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission is to protect and enhance the lives of companion animals and the people who love them. Their no-kill rescue shelter is open year-round, making it easy for people to adopt their best new friend. This year, Brother Wolf will find homes for over 2,400 orphan dogs, puppies, cats, and kittens. All have ended up as an orphan through no fault of their own. Brother Wolf has created a safe, nurturing environment where these special animals can heal emotionally and physically until they find a lifelong home. Their life-saving transport program brings dogs and puppies from overcrowded shelters in the south to rescues in the north where homes are easier to find. Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is a 501c3 organization. To learn more about their life-saving work and to make a donation, visit their website at www.bwar.org. That's www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? That's so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they are available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
I know you're all ears. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America, this time the First Alert Standard Home Extinguisher. Between gear upkeep, rewiring things for a connected home, and all the other little chores we do these days, how certain are you that nothing will ever catch fire? Our CES chat with First Alert brought us their standard home fire extinguisher to review. It's UL rated at 1A, 10B, C, meaning the equivalent of 1 gallon of water on Category A, trash, wood, or paper fires, 10 square feet of coverage for Category B, flammable liquids, and it's non-conductive, so usable on Category C, live electrical fires. This metal body rechargeable dry chemical extinguisher has instructions on it. Pull the pin, aim for the base of the fire from about 6 feet away, squeeze the lever, and sweep side to side. When it comes to dealing with fires, we like Barney Fife's rule for dealing with problems overall. You've got to nip it in the bud. Bottom line, should a small fire break out and you're your own first responder, the First Alert Standard Home Fire Extinguisher is a good way to respond. This is Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is the last half hour of the show, the twilight hours of the show tonight on a Friday makes it even more special. And also, because it is Friday and this time of night, you know that means it's time to give away that awesome touchpad.
Oh, our show reminder winner of the week. Yes, it is time to do that. And we're ready with our digital drums. We always turn that over to Ralph. I see he's ready. So, you ready to hit it, Ralph? Ralph, are you there?
I'm here.
Okay, I didn't hear you. Okay, good
I was
enough.
waiting for the drum.
Well, here we go. You see, he does it. And this week's show reminder winner is Andrew Dunnan. Andrew Dunnan, congratulations. You're this week's show reminder winner. Andy wins the Logitech wireless rechargeable touchpad T650. Okay? So congratulations to you, Andrew, for being this week's winner. And we will draw another winner next week here on Computer America. In the meantime, Ben and I are doing stories with Ralph Bond. And again, you can follow along with us on our show notes page, the cheat notes. And this one we actually I want to skip over to story 12. Volkswagen concept car tracks your biometric data. This is slick.
Yeah. Our cars are going to know us better than our spouses or significant others or perhaps ourselves. Okay. The way things are going, huh, guys? So yeah, a story from PC Magazine by Chloe Albanesius. I never can say this poor woman's name right. Volkswagen concept car tracks your biometric data. Well, I saw that title and I said I've got to check this out. So it says here, Volkswagen Today, now the story was filed on the 2nd of March. So it says, Volkswagen Today showed off a sports car concept that adjusts routes based on your biometric data and includes dashboard elements that appear to just float in front of the driver, among other things. But wait a minute, let that sink in for a second. A sports car concept that adjusts routes based on your biometric data? Now, as an Oregonian, my first thought was, if it detects that I am feeling a little thirsty, it's going to automatically direct me to the nearest microbrew pub. Is that what they're saying? Let's find out.
Okay.
No, it says details about the Sport Coupe Concept GTE were revealed at the Geneva International Motor Show. Again, this was early this month. Don't look for this yet at your local dealership. It's just an idea for now, but it provides Volkswagen fans with a glimpse into what the company wants to add to future vehicles. That includes using your body's biometric data to basically serve up a route that will be least likely to induce road rage. Huh. Now, this is great for Californians, Southern Californians especially.
Yeah.
Got to have this. It says here, a quote from the company, based on the driver's biometric data, the Sport Coupe Concept GTE determines via a smartwatch or armband for measuring the driver's vital functions whether to select a route that includes an exciting country road or a gentle route instead, Volkswagen said. This is kind of funny. If you have this option turned on, well, can't the car turn me on if we're talking about biometrics? Sorry, I couldn't resist. If you have this option turned on, your car will start measuring your vitals soon as you input a destination address. Presumably, if your heart rate is through the roof, it won't take you on a construction-clogged road that's backed up for miles. Well, I hope it wouldn't do that anyway. As you're motoring to your destination, meanwhile, alerts and other car diagnostics will be displayed via 3D graphics. Interesting concept. Kind of semi-funny almost to think that's going to route you if you're what if your blood pressure is really low? Is it going to take you to the nearest clinic? I don't know. It's funny.
I was wondering that. It was like, Ben, you seem really relaxed today, so I planned out this great route for you. You're going to get there about half an hour late, but you're going to love this one, Ben.
Yeah, we're going to tune you up, buddy. I actually think, on a serious note, though, where this could be really meaningful would be if it's monitoring your vital signs through a smartwatch or whatever device that's actually getting a meaningful read on your heart rate and other vital signs. If you were to have suddenly a medical issue come up, or if you're someone like me with a medical history that's a little scary, you could, for safety reasons, it could alert. It could maybe someday when we have smart cars with self-control and so forth, could pull over to the side of the road if it detects that you're having some kind of episode or a heart attack, God forbid, or whatever. That could be pretty cool. That's where biometrics would make a lot of sense to me, as opposed to checking my heart rate and saying, I think I need to either excite you some more, or wait, if you're going to sleep, that kind of stuff, that I could really see.
That's cool.
Biometrics would be wonderful for that kind of thing.
It's like, oh, Ben, your biometrics are showing spikes all over the place. We're thinking about rerouting you to an emergency room. No, car, I just had Taco Bell. I swear I'm fine.
Yeah, that's it. I just had the fourth meal. It's okay.
You gotta love Taco Bell. Well, interesting. Our cars are going to do more and more for us, as time progresses, and certainly this is an interesting slant on these abilities. We have so many stories to do. I'm trying to pick out some of the best ones here.
And I'm guessing you're going to skip over this one about the IKEA wireless charging furniture.
Yeah, because we did.
We actually had a guest on the show that was actually the technology behind that. I think it was last Thursday, not even this Thursday, but last Thursday, it was this technology.
Right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I thought it was a fun story, but yeah, let's go on to whatever you guys want to do.
I want to do story 15, which is Microsoft can make your Android device run Windows 10. This is
Yeah. When I first got onto the chat room, I think one of my first little posts, and I haven't had a chance to really stay active in the chat room tonight, but I put down, has anyone heard about this? And it sure caught my eye. A story on Techno Buffalo, which is also a wonderful site. Jacob Lineman is the author, and again, the title was Microsoft can make your Android device run Windows 10. What a clever way to get your foot in the door, right? Okay, so here's the story. There's an image here that shows an Android phone with a Windows 10 operating system environment going on here, and it says, Microsoft's slice of the smartphone market is absolutely puny compared to Android's 81% majority. But the Windows maker may have a new plan to fight back. TechCrunch reports that the Redmond company is hard at work on a way to convert Android devices to a version of Windows 10 for phones. Now, I am going to stop because I just think this is so interesting on so many levels. First of all, old Microsoft, old culture, and I knew it well, and all of you, many of you know it too, would have just never been able to deal with the idea of taking advantage of someone else's environment and finding out a way for my software solutions to get in there, kind of like to hitch a ride on the wagon. It just would have been culturally unthinkable. So in a way, I'm really glad to see this because I think this is darn clever.
Yeah.
I mean, what a clever way to let users who might never think of trying a Windows 10 environment on their phone try it out. Maybe they'll like it, right? Maybe they won't, but maybe they will. I mean, I just think it's genius in that regard, and gutsy, and nice to see them break from the old kind of stodgy, petulant, my way or the highway kind of mindset. So it goes on to say the company hinted at a new program in the latest Windows 10 announcement, revealing that it's working with, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Xiaomi, Xiaomi, to let, oh, thank you, to let some people try the new mobile operating system on existing Android-based My4 handsets. However, TechCrunch's sources say this may just be the first stage of a larger strategy. The Microsoft ROM could potentially be used to flash any Android device with a version of Windows 10. For now, Microsoft says its Windows 10 ROM will be limited to a small number of, again, Ben, is it Xiaomi? How do you pronounce it?
Xiaomi.
Xiaomi fans, giving the company a nice little test group. But if the new program works, it might not be too long before the same offer expands to other Android devices. Again, what a great story. So interesting and so historically interesting, technologically interesting, and I think a really smart way for Microsoft to perhaps get other people to experience their environment for a phone, and maybe they'll like it.
Microsoft is doing a lot of smart things. We would watch them with Windows 10, and they really are listening to their users, and they're on the correct path.
I don't know who brought in the smart idea to say, hey, get as many people using our software solutions as possible, because even with like the Xbox One, now you can play the games on the Windows 10 operating system. Windows 10, you can use like the entire Office suite on like any device, including the one you were just talking about. I mean, they're just like, okay, we don't need just people to use our operating system. We need them to use all of our products everywhere, and like it seems to be working really well for them.
Yes.
So Ben, I want to tag on something you just said a moment ago, because this is interesting to me. Did I hear you say that down the road here, Windows 10, say I have a really powerful Windows 10 PC, are you saying I'll be able to purchase games that are ostensibly for the Xbox One and run them on my PC in a Windows 10 environment? Or did I misunderstand you?
From what I understand, they're going to be doing something along the lines of you're going to be able to run, I want to say like an emulator, like a small window, a version of Xbox One on your Windows 10 PC, and then you'll be able to plug in an Xbox One controller to your computer, and instead of being at your console playing your game, you can then be on any of your Windows 10 computers that can handle it and play that game on any Windows 10 platform.
Wow.
Which is really cool. Like Windows is going for this really as interconnected as possible solution, and it's exciting a lot of people.
Good.
On a side note here, Ralph, Ben and I in the second hour had Parallels on the show.
Oh yeah.
And they make the Parallels desktop, so you can run Windows, any version of Windows on your Mac. However, they have a new product called Parallels Access, which allows you to use your smartphone or your tablet to control your Windows PC or Mac or today I downloaded it and installed it. It was very simple to do, and just as a note, I told our listeners that we were going to talk about it. We'll do it later on, but it's amazing. It really does what he says, and there's like virtually no lag. It's virtually instantaneous from what I'm doing. You get to see your entire screen. Granted, I'm on an iPhone and I got a 27-inch iMac. You can make the screen start, but they give you other methods of accessing applications immediately. And so far, I have to report that it's really terrific. Ben, they sent me a code for you too. I think I'm pretty sure I forwarded it to you.
Perfect. Now all they need to do is send me a code for a free 27-inch iMac, and I'll be good to go.
It works with your Windows PC. Access works
No,
with...
no, no, no. I fully accept and understand that. I'm just saying I think I would get
Going
the
for the
most
big
out
ass.
of this product key if I had a 27-inch iMac.
Okay.
So wait a minute, guys. Now, so Craig, let me make sure I got this right, guys. So I have it's an older iPad 2,
Yeah.
but in my home theater, my man cave where I hide,
Uh-huh.
everyone goes away except my cat.
Yeah.
I now have a mouse and a wireless mouse and a keyboard to control my PC that's in turn connected to my home theater system, which in turn is connected to my big projector.
Yeah.
And, so are you saying I can get an app from Parallels? Would they support an iPad too, because this is an older tablet, and I could run my Windows from my couch using that instead of fussing around with the keyboard and the wireless mouse? Is that what we're saying?
Absolutely, and not only that, yes, and you can do so, and they even have a trial period because the software is free. The app is free, and
Wow.
and the application that you install it, you download it and install it on your Windows machine, and that's free as well. What you pay for is the service. It's $20 a year.
That's sensible.
Yeah, this and I've been trying it on my system here, and it does. It works. It works. You can. They have it set up so it works from your smartphone or iPad
Wow.
to your Windows PC or your Mac, or you can do it from computer to computer too. So you can take control. You could be in a library or some other place where you're at an internet cafe or whatever, and control your computer from that. And again, it installs nothing on that computer. You launch a website, put your password,
Wow.
or you can put it from anywhere. So it's so far interesting. It's an amazing product, and I'll report more on that. But since we were talking about this, I thought it was kind of interesting that you can also not only run Windows 10 on Android, but you can run your Windows 10 computer from your smartphone as well. So
That's very cool. Good stuff.
Android or iOS. So they did a heck of a job. Okay, so where are we now? Oh yeah, so yeah, now we've talked about similar items like this, but this looks pretty much story 16, something called the Tile, which is a lost item tracker.
Oh yes. Okay. Now, I don't know whether this is indicative of my seasoned age, but I more and more go, where in the devil did I leave my car keys? Where in the heck are my glasses? Right? I even got those funky cord things for my glasses because my wife said, I am sick and tired of you freaking out, running around the house. You're going to wear those glasses all the time, and you're going to have those cords, and I don't care how dorky you look because it's just intolerable having you fussing about where you lose stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So this immediately caught my attention because it meets that need. It's called the Tile, and there are other products out there, guys. They're not the only ones. But the idea is it's a lost item tracker. Now, what you do, and if you have the show notes, you can see it's this little kind of, well, it's like a little chip or tile-like thing, kind of looks like a micro SD card. It has a little hole, and you can put it on a key ring, or you could put it really on anything. And it says place or stick tiles, place or stick tiles on up to 8 different items, like your keys, so you'll find them when they go missing. When you begin searching for a lost item, your iPhone tracks the Bluetooth signal strength of your tile. Now, this is not going to help you if you leave your keys in the bathroom and get on an airplane and fly 1,000 miles away. Of course not. But if you just left it around the house, which is more my problem, then this could be useful. So when you begin searching for the lost item, again, the iPhone tracks the Bluetooth signal strength of your tile. As the signal draws closer, the tile's distinctive melody. So each tile, I believe, if I've got this right, has its own tune. Distinctive melody can be heard until your lost item is back in your hands. While Tile does not have GPS real-time location information, the app does automatically record the last place your phone saw your tile. That's cool, because if you have to retrace your steps, it's good to know where to start looking. Mark your tile as lost and enable anyone in the world with the Tile app to help you search for your lost item anonymously and securely. Kind of cool. So they, in the pictures here, guys, in the show notes, they show the Tile itself, I mentioned before, shows here an iPhone with the app. So Tile more, lose less, which is kind of cute. And then some of the pricing information here, $25 for one tile, or you can get a significant percentage savings if you decide to get a 4-pack or an 8-pack or a 12-pack. And if you buy more, you save more. When you buy a tile in a 4-pack, it brings the price of each tile down to $17.50. Once again, for someone like me, oh yes, this could be great.
Certain people in my life would say, Ben, you don't need this. You need a key basket, and just put everything there. And I would say,
do the key basket.
I
The
know,
key
and I would
basket
say,
saved my life. You're right, Ben. Absolutely, key basket's
I would just
good.
say it's not possible. It's not in me to empty my pockets. I walk around with them all day, and then I drop them randomly.
And then he forgets his pocket that we throw it in the washing machine, and it gets. So, yeah, exactly.
It makes the leather wallet more supple. That's
Exactly.
mandatory.
Or the smartphone more pliable. So what I really like about this, though, I've seen the tile before when it was a Kickstarter project like that. What appealed to me is that this tile, is small and it's thin. It's actually smaller than the key. It's square. It's like a square with soft round corners.
Yes.
With a big hole in it, so you can put it on a keychain, and it's not bulky. It's the way they designed the electronics is that or whatever that there's no. I don't believe there's a battery in it even. Or if it is, I can't. The battery is
good question. Yeah. What's the power source? Good. Yeah. Huh.
But that was one of the things that I found attractive to this. That it's
right.
It does basically. It's called the Tile app, and of course, if I can probably get more details if I go to the website and look this up. But again, we have the link there. But there it is. It's very small, and they're showing it there. I think that it's at least the one that I looked at it uses Bluetooth signals here. It doesn't mention battery, but I think there is a battery inside of it.
There has to be, right, guys? Yeah, that's an excellent point I hadn't thought about. And then that begs the question, okay, how long will a tile last? Yeah. Because unless there's some way to recharge it, I don't know. That's a great question.
Yeah. They probably answered it in somewhere on the website.
I'm sure they do, yeah.
Okay. Ralph, we're almost out of time here, and we really didn't get to a lot of other stories that you have here. But for those of you who want to go to our show notes page and read all the different stories that we have, some of the things we didn't get to is like a real working Hyperloop planned for California. This is like a bullet train. As Ben mentioned, the IKEA. The world's biggest micro SD card from SanDisk is a whopping 200 gigabytes, 200 gigs on a micro SD card. So these are some of the stories that we just didn't get to, but certainly you can see them again. What's happening with you? We got a couple of minutes left, Ralph. What's going on with you in the world?
Well, I'd like to stress again, if you have the show notes, really do study that real 2015 show that we talked about at length earlier about reality capture and then reality computing. That's your homework assignment for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Please learn about this, because I'm telling you right now, if it was 2 years ago and we were starting to talk about 3D printing, roughly speaking, or X quantity of time earlier when we were talking about 4K televisions and that, there are just certain moments that are important. Well, reality capture, reality computing, start to get hip to this. It's very, very interesting. And then, since you've allowed me the microphone for another second here, I'm going to shamelessly go back to that bit about story number 7, where Fortune magazine listed world's most admired companies for 2015, and in the software category, it's interesting. Number 1, Salesforce. Number 2, Intuit. Number 3, Adobe. Number 4, Microsoft. Number 5, SAP. And delighted to report number 6 is Autodesk, my company. So I got it in, Ben. I slipped it in there, didn't I?
As it is deserved. Although, real quick, what's Salesforce? Like what do they make?
Yeah, I was going to ask you guys or the audience. It's not a company name that rings a bell with me, and yet they're the number one most admired. Intuit, Adobe, Microsoft, SAP, but Salesforce? Does anybody know?
No, I have
We
to
need to
Google.
Google real
Cloud
quick. Let's
computing
Google.
company is all I got.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, interesting, huh?
we have
hmm
to Google it.
And I think it's cool that Microsoft. You're making the point earlier, guys, about Microsoft being so much more smarter and innovative and listening to customers. I think that's reflected maybe in this number 4 position. Boy, Windows 10. What's the latest, guys? Is it summer that Windows 10 is going to become available?
I think it's fall. Windows 10, I think they're
Or
still having
fall?
beta builds, but
Okay.
I think this fall is when they're going to bring out Windows 10.
I heard
And-
late. I heard late summer, but
That's kind of what I was hearing. But the other question I have for you is, my wife is a Windows 8, a new laptop with Windows 8 on it, and I understand she'll be given Windows 10 option for free. Is that correct?
yeah. They what was it? Also, they have this amnesty program. If you have a non-registered version of it, Microsoft's going to let you use it or something. But
Wow.
there was a little catch to it. What was it, Ben? That that it was there would be an unregistered version of Windows 10. Is that what it was?
Curious.
Yeah, I can't.
And what about Windows 7 users? Because I thought I read someplace that they might even say, hey, if you're a Windows 7 user, a legitimate one user, of course, you can pop up to Windows 10 for free. Have you heard that? Or maybe I'm making that up?
No, Ben, are you there? We're not hearing you.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm sorry.
Okay. So what was it?
Windows 10 for Windows, or I think I heard that Windows 7 users, like current Windows 8 users, would get the option to go to Windows 10 for free also.
Yep. We were just having that discussion earlier tonight.
Yeah.
Windows 7, Windows 8 can go to Windows 10 for free, but you keep your whatever version of Windows you're running. So if it is a quote-unquote unverified license, so like a pirated version, you would then get upgraded to a Windows 10 unvalidated version.
Seconds.
Yeah.
Right.
But yes, 7 and 8 can go directly to 10. Like they're really pushing this
Cool.
Windows 10.
Well, Ralph, listen, I want to thank you for being with us here. Again, it's always a pleasure having you here on the show. And again, you're going to go back to your standard time. So in April, we'll see you on the 10th of April, which is the second Friday of the month, with more cool stories for us. And again, thanks all of you being here with us on
60
tonight's show.
seconds.
And Monday, we're going to have Michael Miller is going to be with us in the first hour of the show. He's moved to the last Monday of every month. And then Epson is going to be joining us in hour 2, talking about their latest workforce printers. So that about wraps it up. Thank you all. Have a great weekend. Catch a movie, do something fun, What are you going to do, Ben?
I am going to be moving from state to state, gypsy roaming like my blood tells me to.
Let's follow your blood. So, we'll see you on Monday night. So until Monday night, this is Craig Crossman hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you Monday night.
What's a floppy?
10 seconds. Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
And then again, thank you all for watching us on our live Compute America video stream. Ralph, thanks again for being with us, and we look forward to having you again next month on the second Friday, okay?
Yeah, that's going to be great.
It is. All right, everybody, thanks for watching, and we'll see you on Monday. Take care. Bye-bye.
Good night, everyone.